Okay, who's from Butterflies that can come speak on behalf of Butterflies? Patrick, come on. I do warn them that they've made good films and the films are going to get into festivals, and when you get into festivals, you got to do the Q&A line. So I am going to start, and we began the semester with like 8 scripts to read, and we table read them all, and then they picked. So which film was yours, and what made you pick it?
I worked on Dream Journal, and I really liked the idea of playing with what was real and what was a dream, and I thought that was a really cool concept.
Mine was Brick Wall, and I liked the simpleness of the story and felt that we could convey it in an effective way.
Mine was The Final Act. I believe it was the last script that we read through out of the whole pool, so it kind of stood out to us. And producer Dario had some good connections in the theater program, so it kind of just made a lot of sense, and it worked out.
Yeah, I worked on Butterflies, and part of the reason why I wanted to work on that one is I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it would be a fun film to shoot, and I had like a pretty good idea of like how I could portray like the genre effectively, you know.
So, open the floor to questions.
How did you cast? What do you look for when you're casting? And are you the sole decision maker, or is it a collective committee? How does the casting process work?
It's kind of a free-for-all, I feel like. You kind of just have to get with... I mean, obviously we've had professors in the digital media program help us look out for actors and whoever wants to be a part of it. My group got lucky. We had a cast of 7 people, which wasn't the easiest to find 7 college students that had like schedules and everything that could go along with. I'm sure the rest of them could go on about how tough it is scheduling with all these actors, but as you can see, everybody got lucky and got really good people to portray their films.
Yeah, I think for ours was just like connections based off people that we already had and people that we already knew and people that we've worked with in the past, and just kind of sent out messages to them and had them send back and read a page of the script and send it back to us, and then just kind of based it off of who we thought would be the best fit for the character and like the roles that we're trying to portray with them and who they're trying to showcase. So that's how we.
So there are auditions as well as just choosing?
Yeah, like real informal, like just read a page, record a video, and then send it back to us. That's how we did it for ours, at least. So.
Wow.
We did
Thank
something
you.
similar. We had people send in self-tapes. We put a posting in a Facebook group for like actors in Southeast Wisconsin, which is how we found our girl that played Christy. She was from UWM, and she was awesome to work with. So.
You all did a great job. Good work. You sound like you want to say something. You look like
Well, we do have more questions, so what have you got for us?
What were some things that you would take with you should you do this again next time? And what were some things that you were kind of like, I learned from that and I don't ever want that to happen again?
I mean, definitely I think one thing that I want to focus on a little bit more in the future is pre-production, getting everything planned, getting actors cast and working out how exactly we're going to do things. That was a bit challenging for ours, but I do think we were able to figure it out. And one thing I think I want to take with me in the future is just like the knowledge that people, like, if you reach out to people, if you're willing to reach out to people, a lot of times they really do want to help. We asked quite a few people to act in ours in particular, and like even if they weren't the most free, they were like pretty willing to help out in other capacities, or they would say like, oh, if you have something coming up in the future, like I'd be willing to help out with that. So just like keeping that community and like being willing to reach out to people.
Yeah, I think for ours is kind of like a twofold. The importance of pre-production and also going forward, like how important that is. For us, we spent a lot of time making sure everything was in line before we shot. We did a table read with our full talent the week before, just to make sure that we really were able to convey to them what we were looking for and what we wanted their intentions to be. And so that was one thing that was really big for us, and I think going forward for myself, making sure that we do something like that and making sure we stress the importance of it.
Ours is definitely practicing your stunts. Hitting people with a baseball bat but not actually hitting them is a little tricky logistically. But we had some rehearsals beforehand that I think were really helpful with that. So practice.
Yeah, and we'll come in front and then we'll go back.
Out of your guys' films, what's your favorite scene from it, and why is it your favorite scene?
My favorite scene from ours is when Christy reads the journal and is like, what is happening? I think that's like a really big turning point for us, and it was really fun to film. So.
Yeah, I think for me, ours would be the two shot at the end where they're both sitting at the foot of the bed, all the way from there until the end. I think that's a really big, powerful moment. It really kind of wraps everything up together. A lot of fun dynamic shots that we used in that, so that would be my favorite part.
I think my favorite scene that came out was honestly like our opening scene of Georgia yelling at the cast, just because when we casted Georgia, she showed up wearing that "Will You Shut Up, Man" shirt, and it was kind of it was kind of like perfect for her character, and just having like the upward angle of her slamming the table, I think it kind of set the precedent for her character, which I don't know, drove like a lot of anxiety throughout the film. So I think that was my favorite.
I really like the doctor's office scene in ours. I think there's a lot of funny lines in there, a lot of great back and forth, and I really like this moment especially where Sean is the doctor, and like he's just sort of like shaking his head at these girls, like not taking his advice seriously. That moment always got me.
My favorite scene too.
Okay, Ed.
So, when you got your scripts and you decided and everything there, what was kind of the process you guys went through from pre-production to post-production? What was kind of like some things along that way that stood out to you or that you kind of recall from the decisions you made, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think for our film specifically, the thing that really stood out to me was the importance of providing proper context for your talent that you're working with in terms of like who you want them to be as characters and like what their intentions are and what their goals are. And so really being able to convey to them like, okay, for this scene you're focused on this and we want you to do this and kind of get this part across was really big for me as a director, being able to build that out and convey that to them.
Yeah, I think the biggest for us was casting and location. Like we already had the date set at the start of the year of when you're going to film, so there's not too many moving pieces with setting up like exactly when you're going to do this. But again, our film just had many different locations we had to use. We wound up piecing interiors and exteriors from different buildings all together. And then just getting 7 people together to act. We had some gender reassignments for some characters. We had people getting killed off a little earlier than we wanted to, but it all worked out.
Yeah, I think with ours, we had a pretty good idea of locations pretty early on, and we were able to get a pretty good idea of equipment quickly. It was just like casting that we had to like really focus on and make sure we were finding the best people that we could, and I think we did a really great job of that in the end.
I would say ours is pretty similar to what Colin said with just like deciding